The USS Cerritos has 4 fake Hawaiians. Boimler sucks at speaking Temerian, by the way. And Shaxs is going to make a little ashtray for his incense. It's going to look like a puppy. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the 7th Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello, hello.
Today, we are joined by Fred Tatasciore, also known as Lieutenant Shaxs of Lower Decks. How are you, Fred?
Oh, I'm great. It's awesome to be here and nice to be back from the dead. It really is.
That's a pretty good Shaxs impression.
Well, thank you. We're working on it. Working on my Bajoran. No, it's great to see you guys. You guys, a wonderful show. Thanks.
Thanks so much. So today we're also going to be reviewing Lower Decks Season 2, Episode 9, wej Duj. But before we get too deep into that, we'd love to just kind of talk to you a bit about what you do and how cool it is that you are now a series regular on a Star Trek series.
Yeah. Where do you want to start?
All of it.
All of it.
Well, and I think guys will understand and attest to, it's great being a fanboy. It's great. I've always loved Star Trek in all of its, possible, in all the shows and the movies and every formation of it since I can remember, since I was a kid, and it's just crazy to be able to be part of that universe and to be welcomed into it so well. Everybody, things like this, like just the amount of joy that is shared is incredible. It's probably one of the greatest things that could happen to a voice actor like me. You know what I mean? It really is. It's just really fantastic. And then to be able to play a role that I just love so much. He just makes me laugh. I really feel very connected to this character. And then to be able to, I do utility too. So I have to play all these aliens that I grew up with and, Klingons and all sorts of crazy one-time aliens you saw maybe in the animated series, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and try to bring life to that. Again, it's a real treat. It really is. And we all can't believe that this show got made. I don't Mike McMahon, I don't want to speak for him, but he was as much in awe. He's obviously a fan of Star Trek, but we had no idea that when I auditioned for this, we thought, I thought this was going to be a spoof. This certainly isn't going to be Star Trek, right? I mean, it's crazy comedy. What's going on here? And then as we read the scripts and then you finally see the episodes and go, wow, this is a legitimate Star Trek episode. That just blew my head. I was like, wow, that's really fun. So what we do is a blast, and you have to do a little research on some of the aliens and try to find where they originally showed up. But yeah, it's been incredible.
Yeah, in this episode, I think you did a couple extra Klingon voices, and it does seem like in a lot of episodes you see your name next to Shaxs, and then also dying Klingon guy and weird purple alien or whatever.
Yes, we all get red shirted at one time or other. Yeah, you do. We do. We all you play a bunch of different aliens. I mean, that's one of the things that I really love doing on top of everything else is just these random characters. Playing utility is a very fun thing as an actor because as important in voice, you're not tied to anything. So that's kind of what I used to do and still do for Family Guy and American Dad. It's you play Bono, Mark Twain, and a toilet and a police officer all in one episode. And it's just okay. So these they call it utility. I guess it's the same thing in music where it's you're a harmonica player, a violin player, and a bass player. It's whatever the song is required. And so a lot of us who play utility, it's kind of it's really fun because you get to try to stretch yourself as much as you can.
Yeah, you mentioned when you had no idea that it was going to take off like this or that it was even serious. You thought maybe it was a spoof or something. How much did you know going into the project that what was laying out ahead for you? when you auditioned for this role? Did they say, "Oh, okay, this is a one-off," or what was your?
No. I got the sense that it was a regular character. I got the sense of it, but I don't know. We don't really know that much about what's the plan. We just generally get a scene.
Okay.
Which was interesting. It was a scene we auditioned with that I, quite frankly, we never actually have. We haven't animated it yet or filmed it yet. It hasn't shown up in another episode. I was curious about that, but yeah, we and they would. What was really great is when the directors are there and they can guide you through it. So basically, the sense I got from Shaxs, my first take was that he is just, they really wanted to get the tough as nails guy. He is scary. I didn't know anything about him yet. All I knew is that he seemed just the more rugged, the more intense, the better. And that's kind of where I was playing it. It was like, okay, well, damn it, let's make sure, and it was, I saw him more like a drill sergeant, like a,
Yeah, totally.
And as time goes on, the joy of being the Shaxs is seeing what a heart he has and what a good guy he really is. And he would hate it if I say this, but a softie and a romantic. He's a real softie, he's a romantic, and he will die doing two things: protecting the ones he loves. One of my favorite lines in the first season, he says, Captain, I mean, first of all, the idea that he's going to be defense, he's going to like be your security officer, and the first thing he does is want to fight, immediately. Like even Michael Dorn, like even Warp had like a moment of like, all right, we'll figure something else. Like you hear this guy's immediately like, I think we should phase them, Captain. Like his immediate response is like a bad bouncer. You know what I mean? Like he's going to get in a fight.
That's what stood out about the character to all of us. But yeah, please continue. I mean, that you're almost like a parody of what really makes these security officers, especially Worf, because everybody's like, okay, Worf just always wants to fight. Yes, we know what your solution is, Worf. We know. And then Shaxs is like, hold my Ractagino or whatever, hold my Hasperat.
Yeah, and he at least Worf like tries to keep it together, like Shaxs just goes, I don't understand this technology. It's like me yelling at my computer, just like what the and the idea that he wants to destroy the warp core. Like the idea is I suggest we target the warp core is the best line for him ever, because it's like, so you're going to just reject the whole premise of Star Trek at this point. Like you're a man who knows about wormholes and Bajor. You actually are going to just destroy.
That's his plan A.
Idea of what makes Star Trek happen. What?
That's his plan A.
That's his plan A. Exactly. And you got to admire that. And I think for comedic, there was something so funny about that for me. Just like that's like, and he's got heart, because I think even when he dies, what's the last thing he's doing? He's still beating the crap out of somebody as the ship is blowing up. Like
I loved it. I love that scene. Yes.
And this is the greatest day of his life. Just like this is what he was born to do. I know his past has got to be. I'm not sure he was Starfleet. I'm not sure he was Starfleet for very long. I think he fought in the wars. I think he had a big life and lost a lot of people. And it's got scars to prove it. And now he has taken on this Cerritos and all of them, Federation as something to be a part of and something to fight, to literally fight for. But again, I love that his first response is just like, I say we take them down. Yeah,
he's sort of like a bull in a china shop in his characters. Like he's super aggressive, but he's also sensitive. Like you can't ask him certain things. Like, hey, didn't you die? Like, you don't ask him.
Oh, yes, that was great.
And that's a dark night of the soul for a Bajoran. Like, that's like for anyone. But what he went through is so unspeakable, and it's shaken him to the core. I mean, and we go through I believe there was a Black Mountain involved. I believe there was a wormhole. I believe there was a rebirth. I mean, I think one of the things I love about his culture is their reliance on, they have a deep spirituality, and they have a very complex, they're ancient. I mean, they really are very old. Like they've got some, well, I guess everything's ancient, but they've got an incredible, complicated spiritual paradigm. And I think that he slipped through something that was, that maybe gave him this other chance, but I think it shook him to his core and can't really talk about it. I don't even know if he understands what happened. Now, that's how I play it and feel it. From a comedy perspective, or from a Star Trek perspective, what's hilarious, it's a real nod to all the people who come back. Those parallel dimensions, or like,
yes,
how did this person survive?
Right.
And we don't answer it. And for a long time, Mike and I have been trying to answer people this, like, what happened, and our answers are, well, we know, right? And now I kind of have kind of a backstory in my head of how it went down. But what's hilarious is how many fans go, I don't want to know. Like, so many wanted to know, but it's like kind of hilarious to be like, no, this is perfect. We should
totally know. It is.
Yeah.
We don't know what we
don't want to know.
Traverse there.
It's a dark thing.
And and now he's now he's in love. It's really it's
right.
It's quite great. Huh?
Right. Do you I guess we can't have you make any predictions about Dr. T'Ana and Shaxs, because you're well into season 3 as far as recording is concerned, but you did touch upon backstory. And so maybe we could go backwards a little bit.
I will say this, though. I will say this, that it is, and I am instructed that I can say this. It's hot and heavy. I mean, it's naked time. It's very real. It's naked time, and the scratches, and I'm just gonna say, he is in love.
Wow.
I mean, he really,
cat scratch fever, man.
Thank you. Let's do this. I gotta do this. No, it's true. It's true. And I think it's because, and I just love how I love how she's being played. It's just so brilliant. But it's they're both rough. They're both very tough. And they say it.
And vulgar. Yeah.
And vulgar. Oh, and don't you love when Dr. Tonic just gets beeped out?
Yeah.
I think that's the best.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite. Vulgar, and but their heart is in the right place. They're both extremely passionate. I think in some ways she's tougher than he is. In some ways, we will discover. I will say this without hinting away too much. You'll discover more tender sides of Shaxs. Let's put it that way.
Nice.
I like her. And so I'll leave it at that. But I will say it is a real thing, and it is very hot and heavy.
Wow. So stay tuned for that, everybody, because you're going to get Bajorn and Cation babies and bruised ribs.
What would they be?
It'd be adorable.
I have a question about, I guess it's kind of.
But Jillian plays it. I just love how she plays that character. I love the whole cast. It's just they really bring it. But that just kills me.
Well, that's my question. That's my question for you. Because I see that you're. It looks like you're in your studio, so I imagine this is where you record your performances for the character.
Many of them, I record here, and we also go to another studio sometimes. Now that the COVID is, they've put in some very good protocols. Have you experienced that, you guys? Are you?
Oh, the protocols. Yeah.
How are you with like your stuff? Are you like? I mean, they've improved it quite a bit. I know on camera it's a little tougher.
Yeah.
On camera is very, very, it's rough for that. But like for audio, for voice acting, we go in and you know, go to an antiseptic room, and it's still a Zoom meeting. It's just I'm in with the booth with the engineer, and so I would say half my most of season 2 was in here. I would say, yeah.
So then that leads to my question, which is, have you gotten together with the cast? Have you met the cast?
Yeah,
have all of you been in the same place?
We had an original read. We had an original record we did live, Yvette, just to the studios to kind of pitch it. And we all met. Few of us know each other from other projects, but we then haven't got together as much as one would like or think in terms of like recording. It is fun to. One of the great things is a group record, because as you know, acting is reacting. So it's really fun to be able to be in the room with people and do that. Even if you're doing it in a Zoom, it's okay. You know, you can still, but more often than not now, most everything I've been doing has been, we're one-off, you know, each, I'll get to see what Dr. Tana or, you know, whoever, you know, I'll get to see what they've done or hear them. But we kind of do it. And I think that has to do with not only COVID, but scheduling.
Right.
But I do. So in answer to your question, yeah, we get together like Star Trek Day, but you know, we don't really get to hang out as much as we see each other for things like this, you know, for podcasts and things. Then you get to talk to, you end up connecting a little bit more.
That's tough, man. It seems like most other series, you're interacting, you're shooting together, and you guys are just kind of like everybody just stay back. You stay in your corner. We'll send you the audio files, and that's kind of a cold way to work. It's tough.
You'd think that it's really not as cold as you think, because what you have is you really do end up with a mutual admiration society, though. Like everybody likes like digging each other's stuff and really loves the characters and the actors. So from that perspective, we're all great. You know, it's just I haven't had a group session in a long time, other than a Zoom group session. But yeah, it's understandable.
Of course.
Again, it's they've done a great job being able to bring all the information you need to you. Yeah, like actually surprisingly. Good job, like on how to like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what this person's doing. Let me read with you. You know, a lot of my characters, a lot of the character work I do is a one-off anyway, or like, you know, some sergeant you won't see for a while, or Shaxs is dealing with alien groups of people, or you know what I mean, things like that. But yeah, I wouldn't mind doing a group Zoom. That doesn't sound right at all. Wait, but you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, it is the way a lot of things are being recorded now. I would say majority of what I do now is pretty much one off now. Yeah, a couple of shows do group, but not as many. I know. I miss it. It would be nice.
Yeah. Seems like it.
Well, I've been telling Ryan now, because we've been reviewing your show now this whole time. And as I've been watching this show, I keep saying this, and I'm going to say it to you since you're here. I'd like you to hear from the horse's mouth. I think your show is the best beginning to a Star Trek series. It hit the ground running, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it hasn't looked back, and I believe that it's going to have a longevity that may even surpass all the other shows. I do. I just think that it's unique. It hit all the spots. It covers all the ground. It still checks the Star Trek box, and so that I do believe that it's going to have a longevity that we haven't seen before. So, you know, I guess my question is, first is a compliment to you and congratulations to you and the rest of the cast for pulling that off. But I guess now that you're part of the Star Trek family, there's things that I think that you're going to have to look forward to, which is conventions. And I wanted to ask you,
Yes.
Have you made any convention appearances, or are you looking forward to the experience of doing conventions at some point or another?
Yeah, I do the Comic Cons. I haven't done any shore leave, or I haven't done any of that yet.
Okay.
I do like that. I'm cool. I love connecting to the fans because I'm a fan. So it's like it's kind of a mutual thing. Yeah, I do. I'm so grateful to be part of this thing. Happy to share, give back, do whatever at all, in any way, because I do enjoy it. I mean, they can be work, but they're fun too, and you can showcase stuff. You can do really fun shows. You can answer a lot of stuff. You can raise awareness for things. It's a good thing. Do you guys like doing the conventions? Do you do them? Do you like it? I know it's a lot.
I absolutely, I love doing the conventions, and for me, maybe a little bit different than you because you're currently working with the people that you're working with. But for me, it's more like a reunion. It's like, oh, I get to see the guys that that we work together. So that's always something to cherish because you never really technically lose contact with anybody once you've been in the trenches with them on something like this. So
yeah,
that's the beauty of it.
You guys must have worked too, because that's a lot. You know what I mean? That's like that's a long day, and it's doing theater, all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love conventions, and I can't wait to see you at conventions for the next 20 years, Fred. This is going to be awesome.
I would love it.
Yes.
I would love it. And I already see, like, I just finished up the Dragon Con, which is where I met our mutual friend, Mohammed Noor, who does
Dr. Mohammed Noor.
Shout out.
Makes all the
love that guy.
Great. Yeah. Shout out. Writing the biology books, a fantastic book about the possibilities of we were talking about this earlier, about the science, that goes into this that goes into the show and the possibility.
So
makes it truly science fiction. No, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys too. I love the conventions. I was just saying, Dragon Con, I got to see not only brilliant guys, a guy like him and the doctor who is writing the physics, but the cosplay of there were a couple of Dr. Tanas.
Yeah.
that were really great.
Yeah.
Really funny. And you got to pose, Unfortunately, I got to get better shape, but Shaxs is a good cosplay for me. Just get in there with it.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Get my hair all straighten up here. Got to work on those abs.
When you're talking about the science and how close it is, it just kind of came to me. Rather than calling it science fiction, it's like science possibilities, right?
Oh, that's good.
It's not really fiction. It's kind of like, well, it's almost science probability. But I know we only have you for about one more minute. But real quick, I wouldn't be doing my job as a big Star Trek fan if I didn't point out that before we hit record, you were doing a cool Shatner impression.
Oh, my.
Well, not Shatner. I guess I should say Kirk. Can we please, first of all, Cirroc Lofton is telling you the truth. Just a week ago, he said that he thinks this show could go 10 seasons. And I think most of us agree. And he has said, and we have said multiple times, that this is like the best starting point for a series. It's just really good. We're really impressed and very happy for you. Man. But I do want to say another thing that we mentioned, I think it was just last week, was how cool it would be. And I think, Cirroc, this was your idea. If the Lower Decks, the show Lower Decks went into the original series, animated series, and they saw William Shatner as in the old animated series style of animation. And what I would love right now is to hear a very quick interaction between Shaxs, Lieutenant Shaxs, and Captain Kirk.
Lieutenant Shaxs, I need you to stand down. You need to stand down. Listen, Captain, you don't understand. You don't know what I'm up against. I got pressures. I got things. Please, Lieutenant Shaxs, please. I don't understand. You need to calm down. Please, calm down. All right. I'm going to calm down. All right. Can I ask you a favor? Will you sign this blaster of mine, please? Just sign it. It's SHAX. Mom, I'd be thrilled. I'd be happy to sign that for you. I am such a William Shatner fan. They have me do it on Robot Chicken, and I will end with this though, that he was the only guy, I think I told you, who pronounced my Italian name correctly ever right off the bat. It was like
brilliant.
And he Tatasciore. I was like, oh my gosh, Captain Kirk pronounced it perfectly.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
He's the best. I would love, oh my God, wouldn't that be amazing? What a great idea. Have you pitched this or is this
I'm pitching it to you, to them.
You know people, Fred.
I'm going to talk about this if you guys don't mind, because it's
I don't mind.
Oh man.
That sent us off into a whole different conveation when I think it was Cirroc. I think it was you that mentioned that. That would just be like, come on.
Stand down, Bajoran.
Brilliant.
That would be so much fun.
I think it'd be great. That's two animated shows in one.
So let's make it happen.
And you could do it. You could do it because of all the time travel, the wormholes, the whole weird things that shift.
Anything, any old thing.
And thank you for your kind words. I really look, man. Just to be honoring, coming from you both means everything, and just honoring Roddenberry and the vision. What we can be for the future. I like it. Science possibility. We'll stick with that.
So, Fred, will you? We really hope you'll come back and see us again. I feel like we've got another 15 questions to go, but we're out of time. So we'd love to see you again.
Whenever you want, we will do that. Now, and I would be honored. You guys are fantastic.
So great.
Please,
awesome.
Anytime.
I know you got to get back to work. You're recording your baby bedtime lullabies right now.
That's right. Bajoran loved baby bedtime. The little bear faced many dangers. He faced the Black Mountain and the fires of hell. How baby bear avoided Bajoran hell.
Right.
Well, sleep well.
Thank you so much. We'll be looking forward to that. Everybody go buy that album for your baby. Fred, thank you so much. This was really cool. Really appreciate it.
Awesome.
It was an absolute honor, you guys. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
And we'll see you soon.
Continued success, man.
You too.
And everybody at home, we'll be right back to cover a bit more of this episode that you loved.
By the prophets.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton.
Hello, hello.
We are now joined by two very special guests from the Star Trek rock band Star Trek themed rock band. You're not like a rock theme. The Roddenberries, Scott Johnson, aka Scotch, and Bill Tayun,
aka Spocknik from the Roddenberries.
Nice. Very nice. So we're going to continue this review. We're going to have a ton of fun because this episode was awesome, especially starting with this reference to, what was it, Star Trek 5 behind me with when Boimler comes up in his, rocket boots or whatever they're called. And they were, and he even had the shirt and everything. I think that was Star Trek 5, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Final Frontier. I usually look to Billy for these things.
Oh yes.
It is Final Frontier, right? I do mix up. After 4, I get a little...
After the whales, nobody knows anymore.
I like them all. All Trek is good.
Yeah.
Some is great.
So let's just get into it. Guys, Lower Decks in general, are you falling in love? Are there specific episodes that you really like? Did this episode compare well to the previous episodes? What do you think?
I loved it.
Cirroc.
Is this a trick question?
Well,
Right.
Ryan's got the backdrop already, so you haven't said you loved it yet. So,
Well, I found it to be a little lacking. No, I'm just kidding. I loved it. I loved it. It seems like every episode they almost have a theme as to what Easter eggs and references they have. Like a few episodes ago, they had a ton of Easter eggs. And then the next episode, they had none. And then the next episode, they had a bunch of, what was it, like Voyager references. And then before that, there was a bunch of animated series ones. This episode, they had a bunch of Star Trek V and Star Trek VI, the movie references. There were like 4 or 5 of those. And they didn't really have any of those before that, except when they maybe mentioned Khan. So it's starting to seem like even their Easter eggs have a theme, which is just, this guy is serving us up way too much good stuff. I don't know if we deserve it.
That's my favorite part of Lower Decks, honestly. I think it's probably a lot of people's favorite part, especially the people that know Trek and have been around and know all the old stuff. And as soon as you see something from any one of those series or movies, you get all giddy and excited. That's me. I mean, every time I hear those kind of things, I freak out.
I think nothing makes Trek fans more angry than new Trek. It's a cliche that's been said many times. And I think the people who aren't watching Lower Decks are literally cheating themselves of what Trek can be at its fastest and its funniest. I did love this episode. I did. I think I'm literally the audience that the writer, the chief writer, it's a single writer producer or a team of writers going through one creator.
It's definitely a team, yeah.
So it seems to be a team, but I've been wrong, right? But it seems to me that this show is written like literally for me. It tries to I feel like the show is trying to outsmart.
You're so lucky.
It's trying to outsmart me. It's like, okay, they're gonna think this is the gag, but this is the gag. So much of it, and also I am a really deep, I'm a very hardcore supporter and a fan of the animated series.
Yes.
I'll throw down with anybody, anywhere, at any time, and talk animated series. So for me, this all of Lower Decks, some episodes in particular, but like they had me long before they brought in a Kzinti. But when they brought in the Kzinti, it was done. I was like, that's it. I'll retire from writing Star Trek comedy because they've already grabbed the Kzinti from Larry Niven's Slaver Weapon episode.
Yeah.
What's next? And then
how
Bam
cool was it
and then
when
Bam
the
shows up in the next one.
When the Kzinti goes down and hunches like the animated series.
This. You know, the telepath, right? I hear they're all depressed neurotics. He fits the bill, and they use the face from the animated episode. It's just too much. They went to meta levels of the Stromboli that I want from Star Trek comedy, and that's it. And then again, the next episode, the Bem, the Tri character shows up, and I'm like, they've watched the animated series just as much as I have. Love it.
Right.
I love it.
They definitely reference the animated series per capita more than anything else, because the animated series only had like 22 episodes. So if you want to look at it per capita, I feel like the animated series gets the most references.
I think it's they mine it for gold, which can only mean that several characters have got to show up. They've got to show up from the animated series. That's all. If they don't bring in a cartoon Mud voiced by Rainn Wilson, missed opportunity. You've got to bring Mud back in his animated form. And that's just me talking. But if you're listening, CBS.
Oh, they are.
They're listening.
They're always watching this episode.
I'm sure some members of their staff.
They actually watch our show 3 times and mine us for references and Easter eggs. They're like, what are they trying to? What's the little?
Honest to Kalis, to reference again, from the moment that they introduced the 100-foot tall Spock skeleton,
yes,
in particular from Infinite Vulcan, which Ryan you mentioned earlier from another episode, that is what this references on Sister Spock's door.
Beautiful.
It's Big Spock, Tiny Spock from Infinite Vulcan. That's a reference to the animated series that's in the house constantly. So again, just that show. Oh, I'm jealous, officially jealous of the laughs they get.
In this episode, you mentioned the Kzinti, but there was a nice exchange between Boimler and the Kzinti. And I think the Boimler was trying to relate to him, and he said, Carno in the forest with Myra.
Oh, with the Temerian, right? With Kayshawn.
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, man, that poor guy. And he just screwed it all up.
Is that hilarious?
It was.
That was great. That was great.
He's like, it's hard to lose weight.
You know, there were actually a lot of references too at the beginning when they were all like running on the ship. Oh my goodness, I almost forgot. But first, when they were running, it showed the people, and you help me out, guys. What was the thing that Riker played with his dad with the
little Jitsu?
Yeah, right. So they had those. They had people dressed like that. They also had a Napoleon, and they mentioned the Stratagemma tournament early on. But especially, did you guys notice the two ladies in the stretchy pants, leotard, stretchy scene? Remember, Cirroc, remember how we're always talking about?
Yeah.
Did you see them?
Catch that.
Oh my God!
I saw the Renaissance fair people. They were kind of like
the Elizabethan collars were running. That was so quick. But you know,
I didn't see the.
Check this out. I'm gonna. Yeah. Check it out. I'm gonna show you right now. Here it is when they were running.
Yeah, right.
That's it right there. That's it.
That's it.
That's the yoga.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that wins the A+ for me. I'm like, I cannot believe. I went back. I was like, wait, did I just see what I think I saw? God bless them. Q bless them.
Q bless them.
That's.
I think we'd all agree that one of the expectations for this episode, I thought, first of all, it was just the premise was so friggin' funny. The moment it cut to the third title card of Lower Decks on a Vulcan ship. No spoilers, though I guess this is the show not to watch if you're looking to avoid spoilers.
No, we can spoil. We can
spoil everything.
Yeah.
That joke was 5 times. They did that joke 5 times, all the way up to the Borg, which was hilarious. As in, here we are. Here's a new setup. But this episode, terrifically, the Klingons normally played for a weakness. Generally speaking, the whole honor system is it's a quick tool for them to find a villain. This was one of the rare instances of an actual Klingon honor culture or character led by his own internal compass of honor. Yeah. Not for laughs. That last Klingon segment, I was watching it, waiting for the joke. That Klingon arc is a deadly serious, deadly arc. I loved that. I love that. I know we're going to see that captain again. Yeah. The captain has to come back.
That's what I was going to say. You guys, it seemed like for the first time in the show that they actually kind of serialized it a little bit. Like that female Vulcan, T'Lyn, feels like she's going to get transferred to the Cerritos, right? That was the whole, it seems like that's kind of where they left it or lead us to believe, and that we are going to see that Klingon captain again. That's the first time these guys are expanding. You know, they revealed the Pac-led and Klingon kind of, pact or alliance that's going on there, and also introducing more characters to expand the Lower Decks universe. They are expanding 90s Trek basically for us.
They are.
What do you think, Bill?
That Klingon's coming back. I'm convinced.
I agree.
For an episode, that Klingon's coming back as that honorable Martakian kind of. It's an honor-bound Klingon. It's the one who gets through. I'm sorry, Billy.
I agree. I agree with Scott. I mean, they're just setting us up, and they're definitely preparing, a friend or rival to Mariner with this Vulcan who's definitely going to be on. It's going to be a fun interaction between them. I did think that her voice sounded like Alexa. You listen to Alexa. I swear, I'm like, every time she's speaking, I'm thinking of, oh my, where have I heard this before? It's Alexa. I swear. But yeah, I definitely think they're setting us up for that. And one other thing I just have to say that I absolutely love, just in general, was the Pac-lid clump ship.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, Cirroc, you're good at predicting these things, so I'm hoping that you'll have the right prediction here. But when I assume that T'Lyn is being transferred to the Cerritos, and Bill, you were alluding to it, I was like, I wonder if she's going to become like an enemy of Mariner, like a, where they're going to be really competitive with each other at first, or Or do you think, Cirroc, that they're just going to be like besties from the get-go if she transfers over there?
First of all, I want to say that storyline was hilarious to me. Just the Vulcan lower decks, the way they would say, "Yeah, she's out of control." And
right? Like that joke. We were laughing at that joke. Like, right?
Yeah. So good.
I mean, those little, like, she was just literally not even. She was just saying logical stuff, like, logically this should be done, and they're like, "Dude, she has lost it." Yeah. So I thought that was hilarious. Just that whole storyline. But I liked her character. I don't know how she's going to fit in necessarily. I know that they, part of her, she was like, "Captain, I don't think this kind of punishment is warranted." And he's like, "That is exactly the type of outburst. That led to my decision."
I wrote that down too. Outburst.
Outburst. She's just stating the facts. It's like, what kind of outburst is that? So no, I think she will become somebody that they use again. I just don't know how she'll fit in per se, because they have so many characters to kind of develop. So I don't know if she'll get inserted into the lower decks of the Cerritos, or if she will be in the upper deck and with the rest of the crew, because she's smart enough to be like an upper deck type of girl, right? She's over here configuring things for the shields for the ship, right? Like a self-healing shield and
a self-healing shield bolt.
Yeah. And I'm like, this girl's a genius. Like, she's hired. So I don't know how they're going to fit her in, or what the kind of reaction will be if her logical approach to things. But I just have so much faith in the guys doing this show that they just know what they're doing, that they're going to make it work. Because in my opinion, this show hasn't really even had an off episode. I can't think of an episode where I watched this. Jeez, this is what a wasted 20 minutes. Every single time I finish watching an episode, I'm like, God, these guys hit it out the park again. Damn, I wish I was on this show. God, these guys are good. And
I'm sorry. Did Cirroc Lofton just say, "I wish I was on this show"?
That's gonna happen, right?
I mean, come on.
Yeah,
come on.
It's not good.
Paramount, we know you're watching.
Yeah,
just
must happen.
The show's that good. And like I said, I kind of have like an attachment to all of the characters. So each one of the characters, there's something about them that I'm attached to, right? Or I believe about them. And it's like, I care about their storylines. So they've sold me on these animated characters as much as a real show could sell me on live action characters. So kudos to the writers and producers of this show. So I think it will be, just the way that Captain Freeman was wearing a shirt that said Ritos. Cerrito. Just little stuff like that. Just like, you're like, wow, these guys, the attention to detail is just, they know how to make fun of the merchandising. They make fun of their own past storylines. They make fun of collectability, like I said, with the plates, when Boimler wanted to get his plate signed. They're just taking the entirety of what we experienced. I wouldn't be surprised if they do a convention in one of these episodes, or if they show up at a convention.
That'd be fun.
That would be great.
Well, this, like you mentioned, the Ritos shirt. This was the first time that it felt like they were referencing and doing an Easter egg for a new Star Trek series. They're always like, remember in Next Generation, these guys, you remember these guys in original? Now they're like, remember in Disco, like last year?
Yeah.
Now they're going to be like, pretty soon they're going to be like, remember two episodes ago in our own show?
Yeah.
Right.
That's true. Like on an upcoming episode, there has to be 3 people sharing a toothbrush. There has to be like, so they've got to be smart. They got to be 1 week smarter than the other Star Trek shows, right? Because they have a slightly quicker turnaround. But yeah, so many of the jokes, they know their audience is smart. I'm thrilled that the writers take, because I don't really perceive the show as ever really, it's never irreverent towards Trek, but it has this tongue-in-cheek about everything which is taken sacredly in Trek. And I think all the jokes really do land. You know, I just, And when it's not funny, it's still landing. As Cirroc said, I really like all the characters, and I do want to see where they wind up. I keep not to anticipate something bad, but I have this awful feeling that they're setting us up for the captain of the Cerritos to hand the job over. I have this awful feeling. It's my instinct.
Interesting.
That's strange.
I hate to say it.
I mean, we have one episode left, so something. What the Targ past is going to hit the fan. I almost got that one out. In this final episode. So I do think something big is going to happen in this final episode. I mean, they already set up two things with like a new character and a new storyline with the Klingons and the Pack Led. So I don't know. I don't know if the captain is going to die or get
something that could be captured
or captured. Right.
They could go all Borg. It could be something where mom is gone or missing. But I just have this, just the emotional, moments. They give them to you just to break your heart. Because Star Trek is like a Philadelphia sports team. They're setting you up. They're setting you up.
Yeah, she might get captured by the Borg and be the new Borg queen for all we know.
Right. That's a good. Yeah.
Who knows which way it'll go? There were so many jokes. Even when they were in the temple praying, and they, say you're confined to silent meditation, and so she's in there and she's and she's doing work or whatever, and the other Vulcan says, "You're doing work. You're supposed to be, praying or something." And she says, "You're going to get punitive spiritualism." Spiritualism, like what the hell is
it?
That?
Will result. This behavior will result in punitive spiritualism. Yeah. I heard that.
I was just like, what the hell are they? Like, it was just making me. Their jokes are hilarious. Their lines are funny. Mariner says at one point, she says, "This is the longest warp of my life." That was my favorite line of the episode. It's just like the longest warp.
I forgot to do the graphics. Cirroc's favorite line of the episode.
Oh yes.
Got a good budget here.
Warp of my life. Yes, that's our graphic department right here.
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good.
Got the backdrop.
So yeah, I just think that this episode, along with the rest, they just knock it out the park. I mean, when Shaxs was making that clay pot, when he first was making this long clay pot, it was like looking like something else.
Yeah, very phallic.
And I was like, what is that phallic symbol over there? So they just throw in as much stuff as they can, and it keeps me rolling. And I don't even have the kind of database that you, Scott, have. Watching the animated series before. I don't know about Star Trek 5 and 6 like you, Bill, and I don't really have the whole repertoire of references, but I'm still entertained as a sort of a novice, because I didn't know that, for example, the shirt that you have behind you, Ryan, where Boimler's wearing the Go Climb a Rock shirt. Yeah. I didn't know that's a reference to Shatner wearing the Go Climb a Rock shirt, right? Yeah. But I still think it's funny. Him, I still get the jokes in my own type of way, right? And I think that's what this show has done so well. It has created a show that not only the people who really love Star Trek can get all these Easter eggs and get all of this information and go back and double check the background and say, oh, that's the this and that's the this, and did you see the name of the ship was named after this or whatever it is.
Totally.
They give all of that for those people, but then they give the basic viewership entertainment for a person who's completely a novice who doesn't know all of that stuff. They can still watch it and say, oh, that was a good episode. I was entertained. It was funny. It was good situations.
Oh, and real quick, we also, our good buddy Don Crandall sends a few things that we do miss. And a couple of these are really good. I want to point those out right now. Go Climb a Rock. Yeah, we got that. Oh, so Wedge Dudge, which is the title of this episode, I'm sure everybody's wondering, it means 3 ships in Klingon. And this was the story of 3 ships, so that works well. The Klingons mention the Battle of Klak Dekel Bracht, which it sounds like, Bill, it sounds like you know what this is in reference to, right?
Well, that's the legendary battle that was related. That Kor was, and they talk about this in DS9. And Jadzia and Kor have this conversation, and I think even Odo references it once at in some point.
Right,
in DS9, but yes.
Quark goes at the battle of blah blah blah. Or yeah. You remember that scene, Cirroc? And then Odo corrects him and says it the correct way.
Right.
So that's what they mentioned there.
Yes, and I caught that immediately.
Cry Havoc and Let Slip the Dogs of War was
Star Trek 6.
Exactly. Christopher Plummer playing General Chang.
I'm sorry.
And the last one from Don Crandall that I had completely missed was Logic is the beginning of wisdom, not the end of it, is also from Star Trek 6. It's a Spock line. God, you guys know all this stuff. You guys are good with this.
I'll tell you, but I will tell you my favorite line in this. I don't know why I kept laughing, but it was walk my Targ. He ate the traitor's leg and will have gas until it passes.
Yeah.
And then following that was it has passed. And it was an honorable movement.
Yes.
Which comes back to, again, that Targ shows up as really who's the real hero of the day.
Oh, it's my favorite.
Targ. Because the affection that one Klingon showed. And that Klingon to me was an amalgam. That Klingon captain, anyone know the name? Because I wasn't.
Torg, I think his name was
Torg. Was the name of the captain?
Torg, maybe I wrote it down.
Well, that captain was a combo platter of all of the villain Klingons that they've kind of assembled, and I saw Christopher Lloyd's crew as the manner of the Klingon, the manner of his style, including immediately killing one of his own crew. Kind of a precedent. That's a little bit of say the wrong thing, Maltz. It's that really. That captain is going to kill his own crew, Blackbeard style. But then he was Kang.
Interesting. What, Ryan? What was his name?
I thought it was Chang. Or no. His name was Dorg. I think is what it was.
Dorg.
Was it Dorg? Because the reason why I'm saying that is Scott just mentioned a line that Christopher Lloyd says, and he says, "Say the wrong thing." And who he was talking to was a character called Torg, T-O-R-G, in Star Trek 3. So I don't know if were they bringing back the name of that character, or were they doing a variant of him? But
wow, that is good knowledge. That could very well be then. We'll have to check
that line Scott just said he was talking to.
And
I thought that was Maltz. Wasn't it?
There was another thing. There was another thing I just caught, and you guys correct me. But when they were when they were talking about how they were actually from the moon rather than Hawaii, somebody says Luna Bay, and what's his name? Ransom goes Tycho City, and Tycho City seems familiar. Did Riker say or Geordi in First Contact, the movie First Contact, when they were looking through the telescope, and he says, "Oh, on a clear night like this, you can see a Tycho City, a New Berlin." I feel like that's like a line that they say when they're looking through the telescope. Everybody that's watching, please let us know, because somebody knows. I think they mentioned that.
They will.
Can I think? I think Tycho City, and I could be wrong, but I think Tycho City is another Deep Space Nine reference to when Nog was on the starship with that other starship with the cadets.
Right, Nova Squadron or Red Squadron. Red Squad.
Red Squadron, right, and the one kind of like medic or medical assistant who was kind of the one character that really didn't want to be there but was holding in her feelings or whatever, and I think that's where she was from.
Okay, because I know I've heard Tycho City before.
Yeah, I think that's where it's from.
No spoilers for Cirroc, though. We're not there yet. Even though you were in the episode. So
yes, that's right. That's right. I'm sorry.
We only have a couple minutes left. Do you guys have any final thoughts on this particular episode or any hopes and wishes for the next one?
I think the Vulcans are I think Cirroc said it too. Like the Vulcans, there's the writing of the comedy, of the way the Vulcans speak.
That's the best part. Yeah.
I think it's a wonderful way of showing the Vulcans are repressed jerks, and which kind of goes back to Ben Cross's Sarek. Emotions run deeper, in many ways, deeper than humans. Sure, you might get to Kolinar eventually, but most of us just we're really the kind of people who dislike Oscar Wilde's line, what you dislike in yourself, you detest in others. All those Vulcans were just really like given all the side eye because they have their own ambitions. They're jerks. And they're looking down at that jerk who's got the guts to speak up, but they're all ambitious jerks and repressed jerks, which I think makes them really funny. I like that. I know Billy's a big fan of Vulcan cultural. They're jerks. Vulcans are jerks.
And passive aggressive. Let me add that too. It's like I'm not trying to start a fight, but I am.
Oh yeah. Also we also had to throw when there are so many references. There are 1,000 references. But even when she's walking out the door with the whole "Live long and prosper, sir,"
Oh yeah.
From the new Trek, and that's just a great line. The way it's delivered, it's
the way it's delivered. Yeah,
it's just
Oh my God, you guys, hang on real quick.
Funny writing.
Check this out. A+ for both of us. Looked it up, Googled it. Landmarks large enough from Earth. In the daytime, Commander Riker missed the familiar sight of the city while looking at the moon during his mission. First contact. Also, Dorian Collins and her family were from Tycho City. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. DS9 Valiant. Look at
wow.
Come on, Bill. That's a high five from us right there, right? We nailed it. That's Nerd City right there.
And here I am. The whole time I thought you were just pulling stuff out of your.
Oh, he's bluffing.
I usually do.
Bluff.
And
when in doubt, bluff.
Yeah. I thought it was a bluff.
Yeah.
Pretty good. I have to say, not bad.
Wow.
Another joke that I thought was the best in this episode was the whole "I'm from Hawaii" thing, and I was thinking of Eugene Roddenberry because he lives in Hawaii. I wondered if that whole him living in Hawaii had anything to do with them making Hawaiian jokes, because
interesting.
There is kind of an elitism or specialty to having grown up in Hawaii or living in Hawaii. Yeah. So I thought maybe they were probably razzing him about that in some type of, subliminal way. But I thought that was hilarious.
Good point.
To that thing, the whole Ransom. I hate to say it, the touching moment with Ransom, right? Even that sequence. While there's a crisis happening, let's have a moment of all opening up. Okay, I'm sure it's going to have a purpose. And later in that one shot where Ransom sends the junior ensign over to Boimler, and you have a shot of Ransom because Ransom there's this little sliver of shared humanity with Ransom, and you just see a little wink, and it makes you actually like the Ransom character. It's like, oh right, he's not just whom he is. He's also got a bit of feeling for the newer recruits in the lower decks, and I thought that was a touching moment. Yeah. Not a joke, but just a real sweet little moment.
It was cool to see a Benzite.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Bill?
Did you all see the was this the first episode that the DS9 model was built? Because he had it was built.
Yes, I saw that, and I remember remembering a few episodes ago he had the Deep Space Nine in a box that said Quark's models or whatever, and when he was holding it in the bunk. That's right. Yeah, good eye. Yeah.
Oh yeah! Wow.
So yeah, they are referencing their own show now.
Well, they're referencing their own show. They're referencing DS9, the movies, the animated. They're just covering everything. Even like I say, the conventions and collectability and merchandise and all of that stuff. They're just going across the board. Pretty soon they'll be in the executive's offices talking to the head of programming.
They'll be like, so Les, let me tell you. Well, that's old school, but
the holodeck or something.
Have they been approved for a third? Is there a third season approved?
It's in the works. Yeah, it
has to be, right? It has to be.
It's actually they're recording it and doing it right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say
there's no way this show's not a success for them. There's no way that they're not hitting this out the park.
Yeah.
I love it. I hope it gets to a third season. I hope Artemis comes back. The space junkers, voiced by
Artemis Prime.
I want all these, I want those characters to come back.
Speaking of coming back, we have to go, but we hope that you guys come back and join us again sometime. It's always a good time with the Roddenberries. Everybody loves the Roddenberries, including us.
Awesome.
Yep.
There's no joke there. That was it. That was the whole thing. It was just the delivery sounded like a joke.
So long as the cease and desist letters don't come, we're good.
Yeah,
we're good.
Anyway, thanks very much, Scott and Bill of the Roddenberries. We do really appreciate your time. It was a lot of fun. I mean, this is already a lot of fun to review this awesome show, but it's even more fun to review it with fellow fans and friends. So everybody at home, check out the Roddenberries. You'll see their links in the description box below, theroddenberries.com, right? Also the Roddenberries on social media. No, I think Twitter is I think it's just Roddenberries.
You're right. What? And thank you for doing that.
Either way,
work on that.
They'll find it. They'll find it. It's pretty. They're like, sorry, I put in I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I guess I would get to work on that.
And Spotify is where you can find us.
Great.
Album for free. Hear it for free.
Awesome. Cirroc said it first. 10 seasons, best first and second season, and Kirk is going to be on Lower Decks, or it's a missed opportunity. All right. So he's like, yep, that's
Kirk's coming. No, Kirk's coming.
All right. So everybody at home, thank you so much for joining in the fun. We'll see you next time. And always remember the 7th rule.